Shalom everyone to Living with the Times. It's spring in Israel, so I've moved it outside. It says in the Torah a number of times that Pesach has to be in the spring because in the spring we came out of Egypt. The energy of spring and Pesach are really one and the same. Tomorrow night is Pesach, and I want to give what might be called 5,000 years of history in, usually it's like an hour, but we're going to do it in 10 minutes. If we look at the Haggadah, it's really taking us from the past. We're reciting it and observing it and celebrating it in the present, and in the future is embedded, especially towards the end of the Haggadah. So let's start at the beginning. We're going to run through the steps of the Haggadah, and we're going to see how past, present, and future all meld together in the present. So we begin the Seder. The first three steps are Kadesh, Urchatz, and Karpas. Kaddish is sanctifying the day on wine. Then we wash our hands. And then we eat a green vegetable. Now, of course, there are many, many symbolisms of every step of the Haggadah. I'm giving you one. We'll call it a pan-historic, transcendent type of history. So, Kadesh and Urchatz is like Kedusha and Tahara. Holiness and purity. Our souls, before they came down to this world, were in a state of holiness and purity. And God, when He created the first human being, placed him and her, Adam and Chava, in the Garden of Eden. And so the Garden of Eden is a place of holiness and purity, a utopian setting. And the karpas, the green vegetable, reminds us of springtime and the Garden of Eden. The next step is yachatz, where we break the middle matzah. This is a very, very significant, symbolic, and it represents the exile from the Garden of Eden and all subsequent exiles, especially in Jewish history, everything that we've gone through, all of the breaking, and this is even indicative of the creation of this world, the world of rectification, where the lights of the previous world of Tohu were too great for the vessels, and they shattered them, they broke them. So the breaking of the matzah represents all the breaking, pain, and exile throughout history. And then comes Magid, the fifth step, where we tell the whole story. We go back to Avram Avinu, and we tell the whole story of the Jewish people up to when we leave Egypt. But the story of the slavery in Egypt is also the story of all of our exiles, all of the inquisitions, the pogroms, the expulsions, the crusades, the Holocaust, all the present wars in the last 75 years in Israel, all of the breaking and our history, we go through the whole thing. But towards the end of Magid, God brings us out of Egypt. And we end that step with the second cup of wine and the blessing that God redeems Israel. And so at that point of the Seder, we start to move into the future. And then we wash our hands again, and then we eat the matzah, and then the moror, and then the sandwich, which has the matzah and the moror and the charoset. And this represents, once we're free, once we're redeemed, we still have to remember where we came from, how we got there. Just like we're commanded to remember everything that Amalek did to us. And so that takes us to the next steps of the Seder. Then we have Shulchan Aruch, where we bring out the feast of the year. And we're told after the redemption, after Mashiach comes, there'll be a great feast called the Feast of Leviathan. So this eating, the Shulchan Aruch and the Feast of Pesach reminds us of the joy and celebration of the Messianic era. And then at Safum, we bring back the hidden piece of matzah that we hid after we did the breaking. And this represents that when Mashiach comes, all the hidden teachings of the Torah will become alive to us, will be revealed to us. And the revelation of God will be fully revealed. And then we do the blessing after the meal. And this represents the great joy and blessing and acknowledgement of what it feels to be free, to feel the Messianic era. And in the Grace After Meals, we say a special thing, a special line that indicates that in the world to come, we will sit with crowns on our head and bask in the light of the Shekhinah. So here, if you're following, we've gone from the past to the present, and now we're fully in the future. We've even gone beyond the Messianic times. And then we do Hallel, and it's called the Great Hallel. Once a year, it's the regular Hallel, but with additions to it. And one of the additions is we say or chant some of the prayers from Shabbat. So this is like Yom Shekulu Shabbat, the day that will be all Shabbat. At this point of the Seder, we're on the fourth cup already, and we're in the vision of the future, but we're living it in the present. And then at the end of the Seder, it's customary to sing songs. And the last song we sing is Chad Gad Yah, which is very, very symbolic of all of Jewish history. And the last line is that God will come and slaughter the angel of death. And so this represents the resurrection of the dead and the full revelation of the world to come, a day that is all Shabbat. So here we've gone through all of not only Jewish history, but all the way back to the breaking of the vessels. And so Pesach night is a timeless experience. Beyond past, present, and future, it's all happening at the same time. This is how God experiences time. We're in divine time. So I want to bless everyone to be able to experience our past in the present and to draw the future, the Messianic era, the world to come, the resurrection of the dead, and the day that is all Shabbat into our consciousness, and it should stay with us the entire year.